đôi tay tay đôi tay tay cứ giỏi âm một lần này là tay tiếng một lần chẳng một lần bảo thì thật em một lần cho lắm tranh tâm khăn này tôi kinh nghiệm đó trên hai đứa biết mà tay là ăn một lần nằm ngoài tay nó với một lời chẳng liếc ta nói tay cho đó cái đó ta là với hai em đi tay cần thấy ta là không phải đấy các bạn
This is one of the activities that we had done to find the results of the experiment and to create a kind of learning experience through experiment. Students need to write down the report, including the results of the experiments. After that, the teacher will compare the results of each group of the students and do the assessment. I will show you the video as example that explain about the results of the 4 groups of students from their experiments to see that the results align with the hypothesis that they had set up at the beginning or not.
Okay, here is the video, Doctor.
This is the video that shows that I had compiled all the results of the 4 group students from the experiments to put on the blackboard and to see that the experiments that they had done align with the hypothesis or not. And finally, we can conclude that the majority of the students in the classroom can do it. They can do the result that came out as the same as the hypothesis. And next, we will look at the STEM teaching.
Và sắp tập đi tới thằng nào và thì rồi chốt từ từ smart cam của dương chế trong đi mà thì trong đi quỳ nữa trên đã một lần từ cả 6 trên 2 một cái smart cam này họ bán trong trời đi vậy nhé và chứ smart cam là trong trời đi được 3 phát đi từ này và thì rồi chúng ta ai trong bảo to tiếp từ đi quỳ trong đi mũi của con xoay phá phát đi từ mốt và trong đi quỳ của con trong đi mũi của từ mốt đi quỳ của từ mốt mặt đi được phá người ta chỉ đón đi quỳ ở phía sau đi quỳ hai bên lại từ này đi quỳ làm người và chế từ lại đôi thì phải nông lý như priệp thiệp từ khăn đấy và khâu trong người nào đấy khâu trong TP thiệp và trong TP khâu thiệp ok trước chưa là cả đây thì bay thì sau thì bay của ao bây giờ bay chụp cáo tay đi quay từ làm đó từ làm chứ là có còn sau với những cái thá từ trong đi mũi của thứ TP và từ kia trước khi ai sang tham phá phá phát từ khăn nào từ một và mình diễn tiếp trước với duyên duyên này mới và chứng thời học này bằng bay không vềการสมรรถกรรมtừ hai lần phơi những bài tập vềสมรรถกรรมnày thì bốn mình ha thì đau chả ròn thì áo bị quên thế nào để stop hai bên chơi bây giờ mình làm người và lúc bị buồn đi bị quên để stop hãy ăn từ lớn và bám phát đi cho mình và không rồi thời nhé là ngày thế là tập phơi với những đôi khi là buồn trong hayสมรรถกรรมnhữngการสมรรถกรรมนี่คือครอบครองที่มาvậy là ngày ok bạn trước như ai tiền sẵn hạn bạn thôi còn ai gì thá thì đang sẽ nói đi bây giờ với việc kia từ nên làm con mặt cam bỏ một ố tới đấy mặt cam thôi chứ cứ trời bát control đại cài và control đại cài sau đấy tại cái bài này control đại cài sau nói cái đấy
finished or graduated from the school. And next, I will show you the video about the techniques of teaching STEM. Let's go and see it. This video, I'm about to teach the students about the STEM. The first one, these materials or the equipment is a warning for the emergency in the kitchen. When the heat in the kitchen go through the equipment that create the electricity, the motor will turn on and ring the bell. After that, it will send the signals for us that there's a fire in the kitchen. This particular equipment was designed in order to, as a warning. Besides the fire warning, we can use it for the other emergency warning. This model is the one that has the automatic switch. It has a metal plate, and once the metal plate got heat up, so there's a contact between the metal to create the loop for the electricity to flow. And this is a way to link the switch, and because of no heat, we need to use the lighter to create heat to make this particular equipment works. And the same thing with the mechanical things on the top. And right now, this equipment will send us a signal.
Chân anh ấy công cạn đi lang tao nữa nơi thì ấp lang tao chân mà đây thá cái đâm rồi ấp thì mà ấp lang tao chứ ấp thì tụng mà chán qua rồi đấy ở đấy tuần đây anh ấy xem mình miền công tao từ nào cũng lang tao lang công cái đấy công cạn thì không chịu như miền từ đó này mình công cạn cái nào miền từ đó công cạn tôi ở nhà cái nào motor và đi bây giờ mấy Due to technique of using and making study material. Okay. Technique
And from this one, it's going to be the technique about to build up the teaching equipments in my classroom. The scientific experiment is the application of the theory that all of us had learned from the physics theory. And from now on, we will use the object in order to find the G value or the gravity force to see if the theory and the experiments are the same or not. We need to do the scientific experiment and get the results to compare with the theory. And after this, I will show you the video.
Scientific experiment to scientific experiment technique technique này ca bằng liên ban vì sao bị chia sẻ.
This experiment, we need the equipments like the objects that works as a pendulum and the thread that we can hang with a rounded object. Let's start the experiment now. We pull the thread and hang the object and show the balance And then we started to count the numbers of the swinging, how many seconds. And finally, we will get the result to calculate or to put into the formulas. This experiment, after the calculations, the result that came out will be almost equal or very close to the gravity force according to the theory, that is 10.
Chơi chơi mà tập hồn đến thời bị on dạ về mà bàn chơi chẳng như vô tư pháp nó này tập ấy sau chơi chơi bớt stop boy nữa dừng chơi cái line nữa thì cái line mà đấy hai dừng chơi cái line stop ấy stop boy này hai p là dừng p là nhôm chập làm chơi nhé mà nó dừng chập chạy start toàn lấy thằng off here mà chập đá thủ đấy là thủ tham mối bị bấy nhưng chập đá mấy trời hai đầu mà đọc hai nhưng họ vừa bảo ai nhưng cô nhung phép tha bất nhưng chật chật muối phí 7 muối phí 7 4 gram muối phở 7 4 đọc khơi đọc pi chơi đọc pi chật mùi nhé đọc pi nè ra khơi mà mang đọc pi chơi chật mùi ok chân tiền ra khá tiền đọc pi chơi mà sàm ngoài chân ở đấy thì yên thì chơi chân nhưng vô vay đọc pi chơi nó hay bảng một cái line xe sẽ chỉ tê đọc tê smart đọc pi đã một đặt tàng chỉ đọc tê smart đọc pi chơi mà hay bảng tê thông thuộc đọc pi chơi hay bảng bình gì nhưng không thuộc nữa thì là tê smart không phải đọc mà nhiều và mùi chơi vì hay bảng nhưng hồ nằm bài gì còn đá cua bao tê cho mà hai ở lửa những lửa ong pin như vậy chỉ cần ong kề và chân mà pi hai lửa ở gì đấy chỉ kề ba mà đây kề mà cuốn hai kề ở gì nhỏ ấy gì mà
bốn hai cái ở lượt tê
ở lửa mà tê kề anh ấy chúng luôn cũng đây theo cùng đi máu sầu tết nói hoặc như chúng nó để mà phải chạy buôn được thì cái sắc sâu chạy ở cùng định sắc sâu đỏ như ô bánh thường qua bánh ăn mưa đấy này bạn sai sắp xong này đây đã sâu chạy luôn đã sâu chạy sai sắp này phải chạy ơi môi chơi rồi chạy hoặc khơi mát Casio ơi đi vào hồ dương từ sau xí khơi phần này chối chứ quen ra ở đây làm lại một buồn cái bia phải ram thử phải tập tay tính thọt chưa thọt chưa nè ở đây đây là làm lại mà đọc chơi sơ dầu đã thêm một buôn thêm còn mai sau bên anh bao số credit thời đọc chơi dân thằng bay đọc thế ta nhiều những cuộc gọi là đây ta không ta mới đọc cái đấy trên đây đây nông trừ đây này của
4.8 mùi
đọc mai không ấy thì chưa ca
4.8 mùi mai trong công ty
vậy đấy chứ là máy thân lên trong chờ lòng lên trong từ đây đó đi trên là máy đi sau khơi Mà nó tầm lấy thì dương sau thời cái chia tầm lấy không tươi rồi chân bia ai vô từ tôi vô ban đó thì chân ta đánh cái sau cầu từ thì
First of all, we need to demonstrate how to make and also to use the study materials so the students can learn and let them remember the theories and also the rule of the lessons. I need to demonstrate this to the students first.
Cầm lăng ở sau bằng 2 pi cầm lăng electromagnetic nhiệt tịch và dương miên bằng cặp dương đó này là cuối thì coi chuyện ta dương miên toàn sông màn vốn ba cùng mối vốn nhưng chập từ cặp chìm hiếng và hai chron thì kí dương bàn đơn ấy trên bố châu lấy đỏ nếu bằng 2 pi cầm lăng electromagnetic tịch cả na sai chìm lo mùi nick sai chìm lòng cả na miên chron như mình còn cắt để không từ đấy sai chìm lo mũi miên chron như mình còn cắt hay đặc biệt được nông đại mà nhiệt tích vì nó vi đốn cầm lắng electro nhiệt tích chốt đây mà cái nơi nào dừng phở mê này mì đáy vì miền pô tí pô chương pô bồn chứ nhập tạ n một hàng mục chứ miền đấy tha và tạ n một mục miền đấy là b một hàng à bộ b một hàng mục rồi nhóm chập đám chuột tròn bà chuột tròn cả nam miền tròn cho cắt những prata miền thiên đai gì đầm cả nam liệt chứ hay kia y p cái đau b miền đại hình thạch đại cái tang ấy ở những tu tiên xạ mười tròn châu bên đây tới biết châu tới sai dương lang từ lưỡi chứ khốm mà miền đại dương lang từ nam mình từ lưỡi trên tu tiên thá cầm lăng đi phơi ở sai plastic lang từ nào từ lưỡi lang men nó bà thế mười một tiết sai lang từ nào từ lưỡi ok môi tiết bà sân chia thủ đô từ đây này bây giờ đây là gì đây nhầm tặng ở anh từ hàng nào mình anh từ hàng nông như cái đầu từ hàng nông với nhé bà dừng ra tham thì thiên đây đó đây là đám và ra tham thiên đây đám đấy tròn châu từ gì chế đây là gì y p khu cái đầu b chân sai cho phát tí cho từ cáo vi lang từ lưng và cho còng và hình sai phát tí chốt chơi từ còng về nè và còn năng đấy chưa
You have seen already about the techniques in building up or to make the equipments. So for the studies, the students will be in groups, will be working in groups, and you can see that all the materials, all these things are very easy to make and easy to learn. After all these experiments, the students can understand and do their own equipment. After that, I will let the students do the experiments themselves so they can find the new things and compare the results among each other. Let's see the video. This is the classroom experiments when they work in groups to do the scientific experiments according to the things that they had learned before.
Bố nhân thử đã ở lòng số mọi sau cho môi nâng sai đai như thế chứng đăng tha sai đai như thế trên people anh ấy tập hội ai chẳng sai đai như thế này bị sau đấy ai chẳng chưa quan trọng lắm.
Vì chụp vô đời sao tại vì mình cầm lăng tinh tư.
Okay.
After you have seen the classroom ambience, you can see that the students, they can do their own experiments by working in groups and conclude the results, and they get the new concepts. Students will explain to each other. They learn about the process of experiment. The students who had gone through the experiments before, they will explain the experiences, and this is a kind of exchange ideas and experiences. Sawadee krab. Today I will do the testing about the magnetic force. The equipments that we have, battery, and the other equipments. For this experiment, we will follow the right-hand rules that we had learned from the classroom. And finally, you will see that the magnetic force of the direct current will go in like a loop in the circle.
This is the result of the episode. We use the method of Recipient 4 ក្តោបខ្សែចម្លងតាំងពីដៅនៃដែនញ៉េទិកហើយមេដៃកន្ធែកតាំងពីដៅនៃចរន្តយើងឃើញថាដែនញ៉េទិកឬក៏ស្ពេចញ៉េទិកនៃចរន្តត្រង់គឺរៀបជារង្វង់
Yes, after you have seen all these experiments, the students will help each other to do the scientific experiments to make themselves understand about the process. Hello. Today we will do the experiment about the solenoid magnetic field. The thing that we have is a magnetic powder, battery, and solenoid. To show the magnetic field that will be generated by the solenoid, let's see the magnetic to see the direction of the solenoid and the direction of magnetic field by using the right-hand rule. We try to prove that the magnetic field will be in the same direction as the solenoid or not.
This is the spec of magnetic field. This is the solenoid.យើងអាចនិយាយបានថាខ្សែដែនម៉ាញេទិករបស់យើងគឺវាបង្កើតស្របជាមួយនឹងអរបស់ Solenoid អញ្ចឹងយើងប្រើតាមវិធីដៃស្ដាំយើងនឹងថាចរន្ត E របស់យើងនេះគឺគំនូរនេះគឺតាំងនៅទិសដៅចរន្ត E អញ្ចឹងចរន្ត E របស់យើងគឺមានទិសដៅបែបនេះអញ្ចឹងរៀបទាំង4ក្តោបខ្សែចម្លងតាំងទិសដៅចរន្ត E ចំណែកមេដៃកន្ធែកតាំងទិសដៅនៅដែនម៉ាញេទិក B អញ្ចឹងយើងឃើញថានៅក្នុងនៅតាមអបណ្ដោយរបស់ Solenoid នេះគឺវាមានរាងជាបន្ទាត់អញ្ចឹងយើងអាចសន្និដ្ឋានបានថា Solenoid បង្កើតនៅដែនម៉ាញេទិកដែលមានរាងជាបន្ទាត់ស្របជាមួយនឹងអរបស់វាបាទអរគុណ
Yes, the final stage, after the students had learned both theories and experiments by themselves. Students, they work in groups, they help each other out, they learn and practice and experience the same things. If they both understand theories and experiments, the students can make their own equipments at home. I have samples for you to see. please see.
ពិសោធន៍រួចរាល់គាត់អាចធ្វើការផលិតសម្ភារៈទាំងអស់នេះបាន
This is a video about the experiment about electromagnetic field. We can start with using copper, battery, and also the base for the magnetic. Okay, first of all, we can drill the hole on the plate, and then we can put the magnetic on the base, link them with the battery, and let's see what happened.
គុយ6 វ៉ុលហើយមីដែកហើយនឹងកម្រោសម្រាប់ដាក់មីដែកបន្ទាប់មកខ្ញុំចាប់ដើមស្វានដាក់វាស្វានដើម្បីដាក់ធ្វើវា តើមកខ្ញុំដាក់របានេះចូលដាក់ពីក្របគ្នាហើយតើមកយើងដាក់នេះទៅលើតែមុនហ្នឹងយើងចាប់ដាក់ទម្រសម្រាប់ដាក់មីដែកសិន
School friends, including the communities, I have samples for you to see about the experiment on electromagnetic force. Please see. Hello again. This is a test that we link this one with the electricity. I will see if there is an electromagnetic force or not. As a conclusion at the end, we found that there is an really, there is an electromagnetic force as I had thought at the beginning.
Mr. Virak, thank you very much for sharing with us your valuable insight, teaching techniques and teaching materials and how to make them. Now let me take the questions from the audience.
นับนะครับอาจารย์5 4 3 2
So the first question contains a fact about physics. Physics is a hard subject. So how do you exactly apply technologies to build learning materials or design teaching techniques so that physics is easier and still fun?
สำหรับในกรณีคำถาม สำหรับในเรื่องของวิชาฟิสิกส์นั้นเป็นวิชาที่ยากนะคะแล้วเราจะเอาเทคโนโลยีอะไรมาใช้ดีหรือว่าวัสดุการสอนอะไรดีหรือว่าเทคนิคอะไรดีที่จะมาช่วยในเรื่องของการสอนให้วิชาฟิสิกส์นั้นสนุกแล้วก็ง่าย
โอเคចាលោកគ្រូតាមសំណួរមួយសួរថារូបវិទ្យាគឺជាមុខវិជ្ជាមួយដែលពិបាកថាតើលោកគ្រូមានវិធីសាស្ត្របែបណានៅក្នុងការបញ្ចូល Physics กลายเป็นวิชาหนึ่งที่มีความง่ายขึ้นผมก็จะมีเทคนิคอย่างเช่น
Physics is a very hard subject but I have a trick I have a tips that can make it easier
បាទអញ្ចឹងវិធីទី1ខ្ញុំត្រូវធ្វើយ៉ាងណាឲ្យគាត់មានអារម្មណ៍ចង់សិក្សាមុខវិជ្ជានេះគឺតាមរយៈបាទបន្ទប់សិក្សារបស់ខ្ញុំត្រូវមានសម្ភារៈពិសោធន៍គឺក៏សម្ភារៈបង្រៀនងាយបាទទី1ទី2គឺត្រូវចេះសង្ខេបមេរៀននឹងឲ្យខ្លីឲ្យគាត់ងាយយល់បាទហើយឲ្យគាត់ងាយយល់នៅខ្លឹមសារមេរៀនហើយនឹងទី3គឺតកតងទៅនឹងការពិសោធន៍បាទការពិសោធន៍ហ្នឹងគឺពិសោធន៍គឺអាចរកសម្ភារៈដែលងាយតែអាចមានតម្លៃថោកយកមកធ្វើការពិសោធន៍បាទហើយនឹងប្រាប់ពីផលប្រយោជន៍ហើយក៏អត្ថប្រយោជន៍នៃមុខវិជ្ជានេះនៅក្នុងតកតងទៅនឹងបញ្ហាបច្ចេកវិទ្យានៅពេលបច្ចុប្បន្នបាទ
អញ្ចឹងសម្រាប់តកតងជាមួយនឹងវិធីសាស្ត្រនៅក្នុងការបង្រៀនที่เกี่ยวกับเรื่องเทคนิคของการสอนครูวิทยาได้ใช้3วิธีค่ะอย่างเช่นคือการที่ให้นักเรียนมีอุปกรณ์และห้องที่พร้อมที่2คือการสอนที่แบบง่ายเพื่อให้นักศึกษามีการเข้าใจแล้วก็จะมีการอธิบายต่างๆในนั้นสุดท้ายคือการทำการทดลองค่ะโดยมีการใช้อุปกรณ์แบบวิทยาศาสตร์เพื่อจะถูกตามอุตสาหกรรม 4.0 ในขณะนี้ค่ะ
The tricks in teaching physics there are 3 things that I have been using first one is provide the teaching materials in the classroom prepare for those things the second one is
Now what if some students fall behind and can't catch up with the others what can you do
ចាលោកគ្រូលើមុខវិជ្ជា Physics គឺជាមុខវិជ្ជាមួយដែលពិបាកថាតើលោកគ្រូមានវិធីសាស្ត្របែបណានៅក្នុងការបង្រៀនឲ្យសិស្សហ្នឹងបើសិនជាគាត់តាមមេរៀនអត់ទាន់ទេតើលោកគ្រូមានវិធីសាស្ត្របែបណាដើម្បីឲ្យគាត់អាចយល់នៅមេរៀនហ្នឹងបានដែរ
วิชาฟิสิกส์นั้นเราก็ทราบแล้วว่าเป็นวิชาที่ยากถ้าหากว่าในกรณีที่มีเด็กนักเรียนซึ่งเรียนตามเพื่อนในกลุ่มไม่ทันนะคะแล้วทำอย่างไรล่ะคะหรือว่าทำทดลองก็ไม่ทันเพื่อนเราจะช่วยเด็กเหล่านั้นได้ยังไงคะ
Okay yes thank you okay បើសិនជាគាត់រៀនយឺតបាទខ្ញុំប្រើវិធីមួយដែលបង្រៀនគាត់បញ្យល់យ៉ាងដោយយឺតបាទមិនមែនបង្រៀនតាមរបៀបលឿនទេបង្រៀនយឺតហើយរៀនរកវិធីយ៉ាងណាឲ្យគាត់យល់នៅខ្លឹមសារមេរៀនសិនក្រោយមកទៀតបានយើងចាប់ដើមធ្វើការបកស្រាយជារូបមន្តនិងលំហាត់បាទហើយនឹងចាប់ដើមធ្វើការពិសោធន៍ហើយឲ្យគាត់យល់ថារូបវិទ្យាវាបម្រើការច្រើននៅក្នុងជីវភាពរស់នៅសប្តាហ៍បាទប៉ុណ្ណឹងសិន
โอเคคือตามเทคนิคที่ผมมีนะครับคือที่1เลยครับผมก็จะให้นักศึกษาที่1ผมจะอธิบายให้เขาเข้าใจโดยการอธิบายแบบช้าๆ ที่สองผมก็จะใช้วิธียังไงให้เขามีความเข้าใจง่ายในบทเรียนที่สองผมก็จะทำการอธิบายสูตรแล้วก็อธิบายทฤษฎีด้วยครับส่วนสุดท้ายผมก็จะทำการทดลองแล้วก็ทำถึงเหตุผลที่เราจะได้รู้หลังจากการที่เราทำการทดลองนั้นที่เกี่ยวกับเรื่องชีวิตประจำวันของเราครับ
There are three things that we can do. First one is to explain to them slowly. Second one, make sure that they understand. Explain slowly, very simple about equations, about formula, about the theory. And then the third one is the experiment. Let them see, let them experience those things. And then we record the results of the experiments.
Okay, now because of the time limit, we're just gonna do the last question. So if our school is small and doesn't have like much financial resources, so we won't have that much science equipment, right? What can we do to teach physics efficiently?
អញ្ចឹងបើសិនជាដោយសារតែយើងដឹងថាបើសិនជាសាលាយើងនៅមានຂະຫນາດមួយដែលថាតូចហើយសម្ភារៈទាក់ទងជាមួយនឹងការពិសោធន៍របស់យើងមានការខ្វះខាតតើលោកគ្រូមានវិធីសាស្ត្របែបណានៅក្នុងការបង្រៀនមុខវិជ្ជា Physics ឲ្យក្លាយទៅជាមុខវិជ្ជាមួយដែលមានប្រសិទ្ធភាពខ្ពស់នៅក្នុងការបង្រៀនរបស់លោកគ្រូ
Thank you អរគុណបាទសម្រាប់នៅក្នុងសំណួរនេះគឺខ្ញុំមានទីសាស្ត្រ3ដែរទី1គឺខ្ញុំបាទមានន័យថាបាទចំណាយធនធានផ្ទាល់ខ្លួនរួមជាមួយនឹងបាទគណៈគ្រប់គ្រងសាលាដើម្បីទិញសម្ភារៈងាយៗយកមកធ្វើការដំណើរការបង្រៀននឹងរៀនទី2គឺតាក់ទងទៅនឹងការចំណាយរបស់សហគមន៍សូមឲ្យមេដាបិតាសិស្សចូលរួមឬក៏សិស្សបាទសិស្សហ្នឹងគាត់អាចយកសម្ភារៈដែលងាយៗយកពីតាមផ្ទះរៀងៗខ្លួនបាទនឹងធ្វើការពិសោធន៍បាទប៉ុណ្ណឹងសិនបាទ
คือสำหรับผมแล้วผมได้ใช้แบบที่หนึ่งคือผมก็จะใช้งบส่วนตัวของผมบางทีผมก็จะขอจากโรงเรียนโดยตรงแต่ว่าเราก็จะมีสมาคมในการช่วยเหลือด้วยครับบางทีผมก็จะขอให้นักศึกษาเอาอุปกรณ์ที่มีมาจากบ้านของเขาอีกอย่างหนึ่งเราก็จะขอความช่วยเหลือจากมารดาบิดาของนักศึกษาเรียนทุกคนด้วยครับ
ในกรณีที่โรงเรียนนั้นก็ไม่ค่อยจะมีงบประมาณมากมายโรงเรียนก็เล็กอุปกรณ์ก็น้อยเราก็มีวิธีนะคะอันแรกทีเดียวก็คือในเรื่องของการที่จะใช้the first of all we will use what we call the out of my pocket money that is my personal money to use for the teaching materials second one from the school itself the third one is we have the association like associations that can donate some money for the science materials. And then the last thing that we can ask is the students themselves, if they can bring some things that they have at home to bring them along to the classroom and share with the others. And the third one, we have associations, like even the parents, that they can donate something for the school.
Thank you very much, Kuroy. Thank you very, very much, everyone, for attending the session. For the rest of the questions, we'll answer them on Facebook. Thank you very much once again.
So just then was 1, 2, and 3. Now show and share number 4 and 5 will be held simultaneously. It is the show and share by Mr. Lee Tan Liam from Vietnam, a science teacher who uses STEM education to help students understand and solve community problems. That is show and share number 4. And the next one is by Thailand's very own Mr. Suthep Teng Prakit, a teacher who uses sufficient economy practices to teach students life skills and strengthen the bond between Thai and Muslim communities. Remember, these two shows are held simultaneously. It depends on which one you want to watch, and make sure you fill out the questionnaire afterwards. So if you're ready, get ready for show and share number 4 and number 5.
This is a part of the Mekong River flowing down into the South China Sea, which is called the River of the Nine Dragons. And here you have a city which is the most important economic center in the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, but the surrounding area is allocated to agricultural activities. The land and water, which is fertile, allows this family to undertake agricultural activities, and we are now in this area which has just recently been separated from the prefecture. This man fights life because he wants to follow the model of his father, who's a teacher. He sent himself to study until he graduated in his studies, and he managed to fulfill the dream of his family because he is also a government teacher, but also a teacher who has brought changes to the lives of all and has been nominated for the Princess Mahachakri Award. And his father said that he's extremely proud that his son will be granted the award of Princess Mahachakri. Lê Thanh Liam, who's 31 years old, is a teacher of physics and IT technology in a school which is located 4 kilometers from his home, and he teaches the secondary education, and he explains and moves together with his children, and this is his motto in teaching his students. He will always ask his students what do they want to learn, to be able to find out the interests of the school children. This boy is interested in the environment. Another one wants to know about the best career. Another one wants to know about social problems, to know about the problems or the interests of the school children. He will ask them why they are interested in these matters. For example, the one interested in the environment wants to know why the trees are felled down. And he uses the problem of environment to allow the children to express their views. For example, he talks about global warming and pollution and other problems, and all these discussions allow him to be able to develop appropriate lessons. This boy says the teacher is very strict, but he's an outstanding teacher, allowing the children to develop ourselves. This student says that the teaching method of Cru Liam allows difficult subjects to be fun, and he also allows other teachers to open up a science club to be able for, and more importantly, he allows the all the problems which I discussed to help solve problems within the area.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show and share session by Mr. Lê Thanh Liêm, the Princess Mahachakri Award recipient 2019 from Vietnam. My name is Jesada Temai Samiti. I'm a researcher at STPI, KMUTT. Today, I'm delighted to be your moderator. Now, let me introduce you to our speaker today, Mr. Lê Thanh Liêm. He's a physics and technology teacher from Him Lam Boarding School at Hậu Giang. The Q&A session will be after the talk. You're encouraged to post any questions onto the chat box, and the staff will collect them.
Good afternoon, honored participants. My name is Lê Thanh Liêm. I'm a teacher from Vietnam. I teach physics and technology, and I am also an advisor for children undertaking research in science and innovation. The students at my school are very varied. We have minority children and children who are poor, and they have difficulty coming to the school as well as having access to science and technology. When I started teaching at this school during the first year, there were a lot of children asking me, for example, how do we use this material or equipment? Learning physics, how can we use it in real life? And I have this idea, what can I do to prove that it's real? All these questions led me to think about how to help the school children solve their problems, and that led me to set up a science club because the children had a lot of interest. It was impossible for one teacher to answer all their questions, but if we have a club, we would have other teachers to help provide advice and answers to the children. But if we want to attract teachers to come into the science club, we first have to PR so that everybody will realize the importance of science and technology and how to develop teaching methods in our school. And therefore, we set up meetings between all the teachers at the school to find ways and means to set up a club and to solve the problems at the school and the problems of children. And we set up a network to find members for the club from amongst small children and big children. After that, we set up a network of the children interested to learn science and technology and to undertake activities for the club, and we summarize our learning and findings on an annual basis. And now I would like to show how we work by providing advice to the school children from the beginning, when the children did not have any knowledge regarding science, until they learn about how to do research in the area of physics and how to find information, all the necessary information. This video will show you about the various process from the beginning when we started by providing advice to the school children until they know how to undertake a research project. In teaching the children who do not know anything about science until they know about science, we start by exchanging our knowledge amongst the teachers in the school, and we chose the topic of interest to the children. From the survey that we did, covering about 200 students, we saw that the children were interested in a lot of problems, for example, waste and air pollution. And a lot of children were interested in the traffic problems or lack of discipline and problems of teenagers, problems within the school, and as many undertook agricultural activities in their homes, and they wanted to know regarding the pros and cons of cultivating this and that plants. And the school children had a lot of ideas and a lot of questions, but the teachers have to think about how to be organized to respond to the problems of the children. In order to choose the children to put into groups according to their interests and to work as a teamwork was not easy at the start, but we separated the children into small groups of about 3 to 5 members. Once they have the group, the members of the group chose a group head to plan the activities and also to evaluate the activities of the group. After that, we chose a secretary to follow up on the activities, and these two children were very important for the work of the group, but they also coordinated with the teachers on behalf of the group. As for the teachers, we had to follow up closely the research and tools used in the research of the groups, because if we left the children to solve the problems themselves, they might be demoralized. We had to allow the children to feel that they were comfortable in working and they were confident in what they were doing and that they would be able to solve the problems raised. After that, we pursued with the analysis, both which can be done both within and outside of the school, because we stressed on the effectiveness and efficiency. While doing the research, what is also as important to allow everything to develop smoothly, we should allow the children to develop themselves regarding communication, presentation of their work, exchange of views between themselves, which we call to share. This is the first thing that the children set up, which is to share and exchange views. And I think a lot of my school children were very shy. They did not express themselves because of the difference in their backgrounds, and also because some of them come from minorities groups and they did not have the confidence to share, and therefore the teachers have to understand those children and allow them to dare to share and to express themselves. Once they dare to share the next point in order to solve the scientific problems, they need to use tools and equipment and to find information. And we will advise them about how to find data and information, help them, advise them in how to solve problems and have a proper analysis method. And after that, we had to compile information. This is what we call to inform. Once all the children have a method to analyze and have their own ideas, they will ask their friends to get together and they will explain to their friends regarding what they want to do, which is the phase to explain, to inform and to explain. They will not work within their group, but they have to present it to the other groups and other classes so that everybody will understand what they were trying to do, which will allow them to be understood. And this also helped set up a good relationship between the various groups, which would be able to help themselves. It was kind of a way for the children to set up a network to help themselves when they reach higher classes. from these initial ideas of the school children, they developed tools and equipment to analyze the possibility of undertaking each job until they achieved results which were satisfactory, which is what we call the phase of improving. And now we would like to show the images and the result of the projects of the students. You can see in the picture that these are students from the second and third year of the secondary education who design a smart machine in order to measure salinity of the water with the use of the ping pong balls, and they compared the clear water and salt water to measure the salinity of the water as appropriate for the water. The result of this analysis was very practical and could be used for the school because the school is located in an agricultural area. Apart from the equipment to measure salinity of the water, another group studied how to attract insects because they observed that insects destroyed rice fields, and they considered how to eliminate these insects. And they used the materials they could use in ordinary life, daily life, and with the lamps of various colors, so that the farmers could use this tool to eliminate insects. And after testing, it showed that this equipment was very practical, and this is based on the fact that the school children were good at making observations. Apart from physics and chemistry, the school children also participated in the other science laboratories. And when they entered the science labs, they saw that there were chemical substances which remained in the laboratory, and so they tried to find ways and means to solve the problem of chemical rests in the laboratories. And so they developed equipment to test chemical solutions and developed also testing equipment to measure the chemical content which was left over. And this project was an outstanding one. And there was also a group which is also studying the problem of COVID-19. In Vietnam, we are having an educational reform according to the government policy, and so we have the training courses provided to teachers so that we could provide more modern ways and means of teaching, and to be able to teach so that what is being taught can be really used in real life. But these modern ways of teaching, such as according to the STEM method of teaching, requires a lot of investment, and the Vietnamese government cannot really provide sufficient funding to all the schools to develop these modern ways of teaching, because we have a lot of schools in Vietnam. If we were to abandon the old ways of teaching and adopt new ways of method, we would have to buy a lot of equipment and tools, and we would have to provide training to the teachers and school children, requiring also a lot of time. And therefore I think that why down, we try to use what we already have and to add that to new technology. My idea is to use new electronics equipment and new technology to add into the tools that we use for teaching at present, and we can reuse and recycle. That is, use what we already have, which is the teachers and school children are familiar with, and then we can also bring in new technology to add to what we already have. And therefore, in the past, together with another group of teachers, we tried ways and means to improve teaching materials in the school, and I would like to show you about the materials that we have developed and proposed to the teachers at my own school as well as the teachers at other schools, and I will explain details of each equipment or tool. What you see here is the testing tool I use for teaching physics for the secondary education students, and now this tool is being used by the Ministry of Education in Vietnam because according to the plan of educational reform, if we were to have to buy or to import tools, we would need a lot of budget, which is impossible, and therefore I tried ways to use new technology for use with the equipment that we already have and to change and adapt these tools so that it becomes more modern. Once we have managed to transform or to change these tools, I exchanged the result of my efforts with other teachers and other schools to be able to modernize teaching tools that we use, and this is being done in all the provinces in Vietnam at present. And I would like to show you a tool that I have designed myself, and I use it to teach physics and chemistry. This is an equipment for use to measure thermometer. We normally use a crystal thermometer which breaks easily from this problem. I've tried to find a way to develop a tool to measure thermometer which would be safe for use using a sensor. And this machine uses five sensors, and the S18B20 is able to measure a thermometer of -20 to 25 degrees Celsius, and this sensor is made from stainless steel, and so it's very resistant. And in all the tests in physics and chemistry, we have to boil metals from 200 to 400 Celsius, and the equipment to measure thermometers cannot be used, and therefore I added another sensor which can measure up to 800 degrees Celsius. In the laboratories at school, we use degrees between 200 to 400 degrees Celsius. So this equipment is very safe, and the result from the head of the sensors will show the result of the temperature which is measured on this box. You can see the T1, T2, T3, 4, and all these. And I have tested this equipment several times so that until we have obtained results which are very exact. And since the result appears on the box, and we can charge this equipment with a laptop, and we can also easily move this box anywhere. Apart from this, in the content of the physics that I teach, we ask the children to focus and measure the distance from one place to another. And the children in the first year of secondary education, they have to measure sounds, they can measure distances, and therefore we can measure both the sound and distances with ultrasound equipment. Therefore, I adapted sensors to develop a tool to measure distance, and here I use SQ05 sensors or SQ04, which sends out ultrasound rays. When it meets obstacles, it will reflect the sound, and it is able to calculate the distance with this sound. On the other side, on this side, you have another kind of sensor measuring the distance between the camera and the object. The session just now was measuring the distance between the... After measuring the machine, we use physics formula to calculate based on a program, and this program is able to calculate very exactly the result, and it can also record results so that the school children can use it in their surveys and further analysis in future. As for the content in physics for the first year of secondary education, the school children have to measure the volume of liquid matters from the weight and volume of liquid matters. They have to calculate density of materials, and they use an old method for the calculation. And I thought that we could use a method based on the sensors to make these calculations. Look at this equipment. And on this base is used for measuring the volume or the weight. And we have sensors to measure the ultrasound to know the depth of the water and the volume of the water. And the volume of the water can be obtained based on a computer program with a software calculating the results, which is shown on the LED screen. And here you can see the LED panel showing the figures, which is the result of the calculation. As for the content of the physics taught in higher secondary education, the children have to learn about the air pressure and water pressure. These are things that we cannot see because it's abstract, and the children cannot imagine what it is like. In my school, we do not have a device to measure the pressure, air pressure, and there I use the DME pressure measuring machine, which already exists. And the head of the sensor, when we dip it into the water, the pressure of the water will have a result, a consequence on the air pressure, and the machine is then able to calculate the pressure, and the light will be shown in green here. And now I would like to show you how this machine for measuring air and water pressure works, and I have linked this machine to my portable computer, And we see that if the sensor has not been dipped into the water, and we can see that the pressure is shown in an orange color. But once we have dipped the pressure into the water, and on the top is the air pressure, and at the bottom is the water pressure in blue, and the green light shows that we are measuring the pressure of a liquid matter, and the result is shown on a LED screen. And once we have taken out what we have dipped into the water, it just shows the pressure, air pressure. And the air pressure will also appear on the LED screen. The linkage between this equipment and the LED screen means that the children would be able to measure pressure and also measure the thermometer of the atmosphere and the various machines. The application can also combine and develop graphs so that we would know both the time and the graphs. And there are also several other applications which we can use. You can see here that's application to measure the thermometers and application to calculate the composition of the substances. Both the teachers in the school and me, we are working together to analyze the problems of tools and equipment that we use for teaching, and to try and improve all these tools and equipment so that they would be more modern according to the educational reform which is being undertaken according to STEM system. But these equipments might not be as good as they could be. They could be improved, such as they could be smaller and more appropriate. We hope to get advice from you so that we would be able to improve the education system in Vietnam. On the participants, the 2 points that I have presented to you, which is how to train the children to undertake projects of analysis, and also the development of the tools would allow the children to understand technology. Even though the school children who have not yet participated in the science club, they have been able to undertake scientific tests in the school, and it allows them to understand both science and technology. And for those children who are especially interested in the matter, they can start to undertake new projects according to their own interest. Our school and the teachers do not stress the results, concrete results, but we stress the importance of allowing the children to do the kind of experiences that would allow them to learn, and it would be beneficial for them for their further studies and for their future. And now I would like to present activities that we use to develop innovative ideas of children within the school by using PowerPoint for the presentation as follows. This is an idea of activities of the teachers and the children at the school, which we have done in the past. In this, you can see here, this is the first image where we had a meeting of the students so that they can meet and get to know each other, and the teachers try to find activities we do not stress the consequence of the activities, but we just stress the fact that we want the school children to have new friends and to know each other and each other's living conditions. We want to create an ambience where the children are comfortable to talk to each other, to know where their friends live, how they come to the school, what are their problems, what are their goals in their studies, and all these discussions will lead to the unity amongst the children within the school, especially in our school. The school children in our school, they come from several minority groups. We have a lot of children who are from Cambodia, so understanding and liking each other is important. Once the school children get to know each other, then we divide the groups according to their own interests. This is very important. The teachers should not force subjects on the children. We should let them choose their own subject matters. They should have the right to choose their own points of interest and the result of their own work. The process of presentation allows the children to learn a lot and to be happy to do activities together. Some of the children, once they get up to speak, they forget what they should say, and the teachers provide them with motivation, because at the school we have a lot of children who dare make presentations, but we want to find those children who are shy and train them to have confidence, even though they come up and say just a few words. It's just a beginning to allow them to be more proficient in future. The children who are shy, we have activities to allow them to have more confidence in speaking and to dare speak more. And during the next phase, they can put the ideas into practice. For example, they can put in the tools that they have developed for measuring, for example, the salinity of the water, and those who have developed the knowledge, and the teachers have to undertake surveys so that the children can have places where they can put their tools in application. The activities to take the children to test their tools, it allows them. For example, they have studied how to eliminate insects or how to solve the problem of water salinity. The important point is that this will lead the children to have a close relationship with the locality where they are living. While doing these activities, we allow them to take pictures and to take those pictures for discussion, which would allow them to further enhance their projects. As you can see from this picture, this is a group which has undertaken a project and developed a tool. And some children, although they have not been successful in developing tools, but at least they have been successful in undertaking analysis of projects for further improvement of their own projects.
So after you implemented this new STEM curriculum, what changes do you see in the students, be it the positive side or the negative side, the problems that you faced?
The new teaching method according to STEM will be in line with the educational reform of Vietnam at present. According to my survey, the children have become more enthusiastic in learning and also for undertaking projects. When they see problems, they try to find information and data themselves and make use of available data to develop tools and equipment to solve the problems.
Qua đó thấy được cái tính sáng tạo trong vấn đề học tập cũng như là vấn đề giải quyết công việc của các em.
So what is your contribution to this new STEM technique that you were talking about?
As for me, I have coordinated with other teachers within the school and teachers from other schools to participate in seminars and training courses to understand new ways of teaching and to develop teaching tools to ensure more efficiency in teaching at my school, which needs to be more modern according to the plan of the Ministry of Education and Training in Vietnam. All the schools can choose school books, and therefore we encourage our teachers to find new school books to allow the school children to be more interested in their studies and to allow our teaching to be more effective.
Đối với giáo viên chúng tôi thì lúc nào cũng phải làm sao mà theo cái sự tập huấn của bên Bộ Giáo dục và cộng với cái sự sáng tạo đổi mới để làm sao mà ứng dụng tốt vào trong cái điều kiện thực tại của từng địa phương khác nhau. Thì giáo viên ngoài vấn đề là dạy học còn phải tìm hiểu thêm những cái phương pháp dạy học và đặc biệt là phải hiểu được những cái đồ dùng thiết bị nó phù hợp vào đâu để làm sao mà trải nghiệm hết những cái yếu tố mà phát triển trong cái chương trình.
Mr. Lim, thank you very much for sharing with us today your experience, your knowledge, and the journey you take the students from not knowing anything at all to where they are today. Very fascinating. So now it's a time for Q&A. Let's take the first question. how do you motivate or encourage students to learn science? How do you get them interested?
คุณครูทำอย่างไรนะคะสำหรับความท้าทายในการที่จะให้นักเรียนนะคะสนใจในเรื่องของวิทยาศาสตร์
Câu hỏi đầu tiên dành cho thầy Liêm, làm thế nào để truyền cảm hứng và khuyến khích cho các em học sinh học khoa học kỹ thuật và các môn vật lý của thầy?
Dạ vâng. Thì tôi có 4 cái mục tiêu cơ bản. Thứ nhất là chúng tôi tìm hiểu những cái nguyện vọng của học sinh khi mà các em học sinh mới bắt đầu vào học hoặc là bắt đầu vào nghiên cứu.
ค่ะสำหรับคำถามทำยังไงเพื่อสร้างแรงบันดาลใจแล้วก็ส่งเสริมให้นักเรียนสนใจเรียนฟิสิกส์และวิทยาศาสตร์นะคะผมก็จะมี4 วิธีทั้งหมดวิธีแรกนะคะก็คือเราจะมีการพูดคุยกับนักเรียนก่อนเพื่อทำความเข้าใจว่านักเรียนสนใจอะไรในวิชาฟิสิกส์และก็วิทยาศาสตร์ที่ผมสอน
In order to motivate and encourage students to learn science, first of all, I would start by discussing with them in order to understand what their interest is. And after that, I will talk with them about the interest for them in studying science and physics.
Thứ hai là chúng tôi giới thiệu các cái ứng dụng thực tế từ môn học, từ những kiến thức mà các em đã chắc góp được, từ đó tạo cái nguồn cảm hứng cho các em.
สำหรับวิธีที่2นะคะก็คือระหว่างการพูดคุยเนี่ยครูก็จะถ่ายทอดให้นักเรียนทราบว่าวิชาฟิสิกส์และวิทยาศาสตร์เนี่ยสามารถนำไปประยุกต์ใช้ในชีวิตจริงยังไงให้นักเรียนเห็นประโยชน์ของวิชาเพื่อสร้างแรงบันดาลใจให้นักเรียนค่ะ
And the second method is to, while discussing with them, to talk and tell them about how science and physics can be used in real life and how it could be useful for them.
Thứ ba là chúng tôi tổ chức các cái buổi học tập, giao lưu, trao đổi, chia sẻ những kinh nghiệm của các em học sinh.
สำหรับวิธีที่3นะคะเราก็จะมีการจัดเสวนาจัดให้นักเรียนได้มาแลกเปลี่ยนพูดคุยกันเกี่ยวกับประโยชน์ของวิชาของเราแล้วก็นักเรียนสามารถนำไปใช้ความรู้ทางวิทยาศาสตร์ทางฟิสิกส์ยังไงบ้าง
And the third method is to have the students discuss amongst themselves regarding the benefits of studying physics and science.
Cái vấn đề cuối cùng cũng là vấn đề quan trọng là chúng tôi sẽ kịp thời đánh giá cái quá trình học tập của các em để làm sao mà chúng ta có thể là kịp thời hỗ trợ cho các em để cho các em không bị vướng mắc và các em làm được cái dự án hoàn thành tốt đẹp.
สำหรับวิธีสุดท้ายนะคะแล้วก็ผมคิดว่าก็เป็นวิธีที่สำคัญมากก็คือครูจะต้องมีการติดตามแล้วก็มีการประเมินผลอยู่ต่อเนื่องให้นักเรียนได้รับฟีดแบ็กอย่างทันท่วงทีแล้วก็ช่วยแก้ปัญหาให้นักเรียนระหว่างการเรียนวิชาและการทำโครงการต่างๆ
And the fourth method, which I consider as very important, is to have a follow-up and evaluation, and to provide feedback to the students in time so that they would understand how to computer หรือใช้เทคโนโลยีใหม่ๆเนี่ยค่ะอาจารย์จะทำอย่างไรคะ
Đối với câu hỏi thứ hai dành cho thầy Liêm là thầy đã gặp những cái khó khăn thử thách nào trong việc chia các em làm việc theo nhóm và đặc biệt là trong cái giai đoạn đầu khi mà mối quan tâm của các em học sinh trong nhóm có thể là không trùng khớp với nhau. Và ý tiếp theo đấy là nếu như các em học sinh không quen với việc sử dụng khoa học kỹ thuật hay là máy tính thì thầy làm thế nào để hỗ trợ các em này?
Vâng. Về vấn đề thứ nhất là các em gặp khó khăn trong vấn đề là các em thành lập nhóm thì chúng tôi thường là tổ chức các cái buổi giao lưu học tập để làm sao thông qua đó các em chia sẻ những cái mối quan tâm của mình về những cái vấn đề trong cuộc sống, về cái mà các em đang gặp phải. Từ đó các em mới thành lập những cái nhóm theo từng cái lĩnh vực của mình.
สำหรับประเด็นแรกนะคะในการแบ่งกลุ่มนักเรียนจริงๆก็ไม่ใช่ปัญหาอุปสรรคมากเท่าไหร่เพราะว่าในช่วงแรกเนี่ยเราก็จัดให้นักเรียนได้มาพูดคุยแสดงความคิดเห็นว่าเขาสนใจอะไรในวิชาฟิสิกส์วิทยาศาสตร์และ สนใจในปัญหาอะไรของสังคมหลังจากนั้นถึงจะแบ่งกลุ่มนักเรียนตามหัวข้อที่เขาสนใจค่ะ
This is not so much of a problem because what I would do is I will start by getting all the students to discuss amongst themselves to discover what is their interest. Since they have different interests, I would then group them according to their specific interests. After that,
và tiếp theo là chúng tôi trong từng cái nhóm nhỏ mà khi các em thành lập từng nhóm từ 3 đến 5 em học sinh thì lúc bấy giờ các em sẽ chia sẻ về cụ thể về cái vấn đề của mình nghiên cứu về cái đề tài mình sẽ thực hiện và cái giải pháp của mình sẽ đưa ra, rồi sau đó từ cái giải pháp đó mới đánh giá coi có khả thi hay không, rồi có phù hợp với cái vấn đề mà cấp thiết hiện nay hay không, từ đó mới chọn ra được cái đề tài, một cái giải pháp nào mà tối ưu nhất, hiệu quả nhất và với tiến hành thực hiện.
และหลังจากนั้นเนี่ยเมื่อนักเรียนสามารถเข้ากลุ่มละ 3-5 คนแล้วเนี่ยเราก็จะมีการพูดคุยอีกรอบนึงว่านักเรียนสนใจในหัวข้ออะไรโดยเฉพาะครูก็จะนั่งคุยกับนักเรียนว่าหัวข้อนี้น่าสนใจหรือเปล่ามีความเป็นไปได้มากน้อยแค่ไหนนะคะนักเรียนก็ช่วยกันคิดแล้วก็วิเคราะห์เพื่อเลือกหัวข้อที่มันมีความเป็นไปได้และน่าสนใจมากที่สุด
After that, after having the children discuss amongst themselves regarding their interest, I will group them into groups of 3 to 5 students and to have them discuss regarding their interest. And after that, I will get the children to analyze together regarding their subject of interest to see whether it would be a viable subject matter to study.
Vâng. Và cái câu trả lời tiếp theo là về sự mà các em học sinh chưa có làm quen về máy tính, về các cái kỹ thuật điện tử. Thì thứ nhất là chúng tôi sẽ kết hợp với bộ phận công nghệ thông tin, với bộ môn công nghệ thông tin trong nhà trường để làm sao hỗ trợ các em trong lúc mà các em học những cái môn học đó.
สำหรับประเด็นที่2ของคำถามนะคะว่าถ้านักเรียนไม่คุ้นเคยกับคอมพิวเตอร์และก็เทคโนโลยีเนี่ยทางครูก็จะได้ไปประสานกับฝ่าย ICT ของโรงเรียนเพื่อมีการสอนนักเรียนหรือสนับสนุนนักเรียนในระหว่างการทำงาน
As for the second part of the question, if the students are not familiar with the use of computers and new technology, what I would do is I would support and have the school organized so that the children will be able to study regarding having special courses on computer and the use of new technology.
Và cái vấn đề là khi mà chúng ta thành lập được cái nhóm thì các em học sinh trong nhóm là những cái nhân tố quan trọng và các em có thể giúp đỡ lẫn nhau để cùng nhau để phát triển trong cái nhóm đó. Vậy nên các em hỗ trợ nhau thì nó sẽ thuận lợi. Và cái này là thường chúng tôi áp dụng ở nhà trường trong những cái lúc mà chúng tôi thực hiện cái đề tài.
นอกจากนี้นะคะการทำงานเป็นทีมก็ช่วยแก้ปัญหาด้วยเพราะว่านักเรียนในทีมก็สามารถแชร์อุปกรณ์เครื่องมือการเรียนด้วยแล้วก็ช่วยเหลือเพื่อนถ้าเพื่อนยังไม่คุ้นเคยกับเทคโนโลยี
Apart from that, having them working in teams helps a lot to solve this matter because it enables the children to share the equipment and materials available to them and also to help support each other in the use of computer and new technology.
Còn đối với những cái trường hợp mà học sinh trong nhóm học sinh là ít tiếp xúc với cái máy tính và công nghệ thì lúc bấy giờ giáo viên hướng dẫn trong cái câu lạc bộ sẽ trực tiếp để hỗ trợ các em về những cái vấn đề mà các em cần để sao mà các em thực hiện những cái đề tài hoặc là thực hiện để tìm những cái dữ liệu từ trên internet cũng như là từ các cái nguồn khác.
และในกรณีถ้าสมาชิกทุกคนในกลุ่มเนี่ยก็อาจจะไม่คุ้นเคยกับเทคโนโลยีทุกคน ก็จะมีครูที่ปรึกษาของชมรมวิทยาศาสตร์นะคะลงมาช่วยแนะนำแล้วก็อาจจะจัดหาเครื่องมืออุปกรณ์มาช่วยนักเรียนค่ะ
Furthermore, if the students in the group they remain unfamiliar with the computer and new technology, what we would do is to ask teachers in our club or in our group who have the expertise to help the children on a special basis.
Okay, let's do the third question then. So, how do you provide students with access to technology if our school or if the school is low on budget?
อาจารย์ทำอย่างไรในการที่จะให้นักเรียนเข้าถึงเทคโนโลยีในกรณีที่โรงเรียนเราเนี่ยมีงบประมาณน้อยค่ะ
Và tiếp theo câu hỏi thứ 3, đấy là trong trường hợp mà ngân sách của trường chúng ta nó rất là hạn chế thì làm thế nào để giúp các em học sinh có thể tiếp cận được với công nghệ thông tin ạ?
Dạ vâng. Thì đối với về cái thiết bị mà còn thiếu thốn thì chúng tôi sẽ sắp xếp những cái lịch để làm sao các em làm việc cho nó hiệu quả, có thể tận dụng được các cái thiết bị trong nhà trường. Và tiếp theo nếu mà còn về những cái trang thiết bị mà riêng á, thì chúng tôi sẽ cùng nhau để hỗ trợ để làm sao cho các em thực hiện cái đề tài hiệu quả.
สำหรับเครื่องมืออุปกรณ์บางอย่างนะคะที่โรงเรียนของเราเนี่ยอาจจะมีงบประมาณจำกัดเราก็จะมีการใช้ร่วมกันโดยแบ่งเวลาการใช้แล้วก็มีกฎกติกาสำหรับการใช้ของส่วนรวมให้นักเรียนสามารถแชร์ facility อุปกรณ์การเรียนการสอนด้วยกันค่ะ
In the case that we lack equipment and tools due to limited budget, what we would do is to have the school children share the use of the tools and equipment available, and to have rules in sharing all these tools and equipment.
All right then. Thank you very much, Mr. Lim, for all the answers. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this session.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. These are the PMCA teachers and students following in Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Srinchawn's lead in focusing and dedication on the educational field. These are the teachers who have also received this prestigious award, which is Her Royal Highness Princess Mahachakri Award. It's a great award, which we name it Princess Mahachakri Award because of her dedication in the educational field. And these teachers are also dedicated in their educational field as well, which is why they have received this prestigious award. It's for their work, their commitment, their dedication in changing lives of students and community, and also the betterment of the schools as well, which is why it's great to receive this award. And this award is not only given out in Thailand, but given out to the 10 ASEAN countries, including